Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you about more of the new stuff coming to the Dark Below DLC. I mentioned in my last video, the video about the new shaders, that when the most recent update dropped for Destiny, the big one that prepares you for the Dark Below DLC, that alongside that, a load of new stuff got added to the database, and that revealed a load of new exotic weapons, armor pieces, a load of legendary stuff, some raid stuff, a load of stuff that I'm going to be covering over the coming weeks, but for the time being, I want to focus on the new exotic weapons. So, there are 6 that we currently know about, or 6 that have shown up on the database. There could well be more, but for the time being, these are the ones that I want to go through. So I'm going to step through them one at a time, show you what they look like where possible, and then run you through all the different key perks that make these weapons so damn cool. First up, this is the Necrochasm. Now, we've actually seen this one in pictures, we've seen it in the artwork and in some of the other sort of pictures as well, so I'm going to bring them up on screen so you can actually get a better idea of what it looks like. But this is an arc damage auto rifle. So this is very exciting and will be very useful for occasions such as this week when the Nightfall and the Strike have got arc burn on. So things worth noting about this one, it's got a ridiculously high fire rate, very low impact, and 66 rounds in the magazine. Now let me step through some of the key perks in the tree so you can take a look at what makes this so good. Now your first column is for ballistics as opposed to the usual sight settings, so that probably means that this has got a kind of fixed scope. But then the second perk, this is Cursebringer. This basically means that precision kills with this weapon frequently trigger a Curse Thrall style explosion. So you know those crazy ones that run towards you and just detonate themselves? That is the sort of effect you're going to be getting from getting critical hits with this, or precision kills with this should I say. You then have your damage upgrades, the usual things for changing stability or faster reload and whatnot, and then you have Rangefinder. Aiming this weapon increases its effective range. And then your usual array of additional damage upgrades. So that is a Necrochasm. Now let's move on to the next one. No Land Beyond. Now this is a sniper rifle, but what makes this so good is it goes in your primary weapon slot. So just like how the Vex Mythoclast is a primary fusion rifle, or the Universal Remote is a primary shotgun, this is a primary sniper rifle. Now it's got 6 rounds in the magazine and its stability is quite low, so you imagine it's probably going to have recoil like the Icebreaker, but this does mean you can carry 2 sniper rifles. It doesn't have any elemental damage, but let's take a look at what you've got. So again, in the first column you've got your usual array of ballistics. You then have Mulligan, which basically means that if you miss a shot, it has a chance to return ammo directly to the magazine. Further damage upgrades and different things for changing speed, agility, all that stuff like that. And you have the Master. Increased precision damage, kills briefly increased damage against the next target. So if you do want to get the most out of that 6-round magazine, then you land all these shots and each of them has a chance of doing increased damage. Next up we have Dragon's Breath. Now this one, again I'm going to put some images up on screen. We have seen this one in pictures. This does look really cool. It's a solar damage rocket launcher with a really cool kind of dragon teeth mouth thing on the end of it. Anyway, so as I said, solar damage, really good for that one. Then your usual array of kind of control compensators, things like that. It has Tripod, which allows you to hold 3 shells in the magazine, whereas by default this has 2 rounds in the magazine. You then have your damage upgrades, the usual stuff for, you know, speed and duration and quick draws and things like that. And then Pyromancer. Rounds fired from this weapon leave a solar flare upon detonation. So you know that annoying flaming ball that the Warlocks drop down? Yeah, you'll be able to leave one of those when you fire down this rocket. So this is going to be really good for crowd control and really nasty for things like control when you're playing in PvP. Then you have the 347 Vesta Dynasty. So this is a scout rifle. It doesn't have any elements attached to it, so it's just a standard kinetic damage scout rifle, but it has 19 rounds in the magazine. It's got a relatively fast reload rate, the rate of fire isn't that high, and the impact is about mid-range. Now again, in the first column you've got your usual array of ballistics as opposed to the scopes. You then have Goliath, which means that non-precision kills temporarily increase armor stat for 15 seconds, so this is really good under those sort of high pressure situations. Then below that you've got David, so this has got David and Goliath, which is interesting. David, precision kills temporarily increase agility stat for 15 seconds. Now being above and below one another, it does most likely mean you'll need to pick and choose one of these, so depending on the situation, whether you want to sort of have more defense, you would go with Goliath. If you wanted to have more agility, you would go with David. Then you have your upgrades to damage, more stuff for reduction of, you know, recoil and aiming, all that stuff like that, and then life support. Recovering from near death grants additional ammo and briefly increases reload speed. Then you have Sweet Business, which is a shotgun, a solar damage shotgun no less. It has 4 rounds in the magazine by default, but also what makes this special is this down here, Thunderer. A single trigger pull fires all 4 barrels. So in other words, you basically have 1 round in the magazine because you're going to be firing all 4 of those bullets in one shot. At least that's how I'm going to interpret this. You then have, again, more stuff for ballistics. Your first perk is Who's Next. A kill with the final round in this magazine increases reload speed, upgrades to damage, more stuff for stability and aiming, and Return to Sender. Kills with this weapon grant bonus ammo directly to the magazine. So the fact that you're using all 4 bullets in one shot does mean that if you do kill someone, you might have another round in your magazine before you have to reload. Then lastly, you have another shotgun, Lord of the Wolves. This is also a solo damage shotgun, so this is going to be really useful, ideally going to something like Crota's End, because when you think about going up against something like the Wizards, you know, the fire shotguns will go straight through them, or I imagine there'll be enemies in the Crota's End raid, which will also have things like that. So this could be useful for that, but this has 5 rounds in the magazine by default, and then it has your usual array of compensators at the front. Then you have hip fire, which basically means that this weapon has bonus accuracy when firing from the hip. So you're going to want to take that into account when using this one. Then you have upgrades to damage, more stuff for stability, agility, all that good stuff like that, but you then have Devil's Touch. Stacking rapid hits has the chance to set your target on fire. Now, the fact that you're already dealing solo damage and you have bonus accuracy when firing from the hip, then clearly you're supposed to come around the corner, pop off all your shots, and hopefully set your enemy on fire, and then do damage over time. And then lastly, your upgrades to damage. Now again, we haven't really seen this one in pictures, at least not as far as I'm aware, so again, you're going to have to go by the thumbnail, but for the time being, those are the 6 new exotic weapons that have surfaced in the database ahead of the Dark Below DLC's launch. Now, there could well be more, and also the perks that I've listed below could well change. These have sort of like come up right now, but Bungie could tweak them before the final game comes out, but for the time being, this is what we know. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the like button and show your support. That does really help me out, and obviously don't forget to subscribe for daily gaming videos. Drop a comment down below, let me know what of these 6 weapons is your favourite, which one do you really want to get first, and as always, thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.